Shalom, shalom, shalom. Banyam Yasha Allah, Banyam Tazadak, Banyam Malak, Barakatham Bahashem Yahawah Bahashem, Hamashiach Yahawah Shai, Kahalayam La Yahawah Thum Yad. It's your brother Aklamak, the Preceptionist, representing Mount Zion Reborn, the Truth Tellers. And in this video, I'm going to continue to press the line on the false understanding of Isaiah 56. You've got brothers out there saying that the heathen in that day will be accepted among the righteous if they keep the Sabbath and keep the commandments. They get to come and have access to the temple. They get a land inheritance along with the children of Israel when you match it with Ezekiel 47. So I'm coming to destroy that once and for all, because if you start from the beginning, there will be no room for improv. So Isaiah 56, starting at verse 3, says, "Neither let the son of the stranger that has joined himself to Yahawah speak, saying, Yahawah had utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, Behold, I am a dry tree. For thus saith Yahawah unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant. Even to them will I give in mine house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and daughters, and I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. Also let the sons of the strangers that join themselves to Yahawah to serve him and to love the name of Yahawah, to be his servants, everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and taketh hold of my covenant, even to them will I bring to my holy mountain, and make them joyful in my house of prayer, and their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon mine altar, for mine house shall be called a house of prayer for all people." Now, in my first video, you can see that it was littered with Torah language, which gets overlooked because people are so proud because they have the ability to read prophecies and during a normal occurrence able to break it down. But here's the problem with that. When you exclude the promises of Yahawah, you are left to match up precepts without any understanding or with very little understanding, saying that the heathen will just keep commandments and they get a portion, a part of the land, whether after their punishment or before their punishment is still going off. Because Yahawah, our power, is not a negotiator. He is not persuaded by admiration, proximity, or desire. He does not amend his oaths because someone wants in. Every promise he makes is sworn, sealed, and remembered across generations, judgment, exile, and restoration. And among all his promises, none are more legally precise and more repeatedly affirmed or more fiercely defended than the land covenant. So anybody saying at any point that the Most High is going to allow quote unquote righteous heathens, oxymoron, into the land and to be a part of the people and get a name better than sons, you are automatically going off. Before there was a kingdom, before there was even a temple, before there was a tabernacle, before there was even exile, before prophets, kings, judges, or controversy, the Most High tied that land to a seed, not to belief, not to righteousness claimed by outsiders, not to those who witness the Israelites' salvation and restoration and admire what they see. He promised it to a seed. So anybody right off the rip that's telling you that in the kingdom that the land is going to be distributed to anyone outside the 12 tribes has not sought Yahawah at his counsel. And I'm going to keep saying it. I don't care how many precepts you pull. The Most High spoke. And if your breakdowns aren't anchored in thus saith Yahawah first, then you're the one that's going off. The book of Genesis does not introduce land as a reward. It introduces land as an inheritance. An inheritance, by definition, belongs to sons, not spectators. And when Yahawah brought Abram into Canaan and said, "Unto thy seed will I give this land," he did not ask for the nation's input. When he commanded Abram to lift up his eyes and look north, south, east, and west, and swore that all that he saw would belong to his descendants forever, he did not leave an expansion clause. Forever already anticipated exile. It already accounted for punishment. It already foresaw scattering and return. Because Yahawah declares the end from the beginning. And when the Most High still bound himself, that oath governs everything that follows. It governs Isaac inheriting instead of Ishmael. It governs Jacob inheriting instead of Esau. It governs the removal of the Canaanites instead of their reformation. It governs tribal boundaries. It governs restoration after exile. It governs future prophecy. And because the Most High, Abanawa Yahawah, forbids even men from moving a neighbor's landmark, he will not violate his own. So before anyone appeals to Prophet Isaiah, before anyone reaches for sons of the stranger, before anyone invokes witnessing nations or joined peoples, they must answer this first. Where, anywhere, did Abanawa Yahawah give Abraham's land to anyone other than Abraham's seed? Because if the land never transfers, then the covenant never transfers. If inheritance never expands, then Isaiah never universalizes. And if Yahawah keeps his oaths, then the heathen land doctrine is dead before it ever speaks a word. So when you begin to read Isaiah 56, you can see immediately that it never says that the Most High is giving land over to the heathen. All of this is implied. And the mere fact that a son of a stranger can get permission within the house of prayer should show you that there's something different about these sons of the strangers as it pertains to a facility that has very strict access according to Torah. But as we begin, we must fix our eyes on the foundational truth. Yahawah's promises are absolute and irrevocable. The very first time the land promise appears, it is addressed to Abraham, and it is given by divine oath and not by negotiation or human desire. This is the book of Genesis chapter 12, verse 6 and 7, and it reads, "And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Sichem, unto the place of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land. And Yahawah appeared unto Abram and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto Yahawah, who appeared unto him." So right off the bat, here we see the first marker. The promise is not for anyone but Abram's seed. I dare you to tell the Most High he was confused, or he actually meant Abram's seed and the heathen. I dare you. But notice carefully, the Most High does not pause to qualify the seed and some general humanity. This is a covenant with lineage, not with observers or witnesses. The altar built by Abraham is a literal acknowledgement of covenant territory, a boundary of divine assignment. This is a unilateral promise. There is no inclusion of outsiders. You have to come back to the beginning where the Most High uttered his voice. And if you do not recognize the voice of the Holy and Mighty One, you are going off. This land belongs to the seed of Abraham, the line of covenant heirs, and no decree by man or desired by nations can amend it. So the implication is profound. Any attempt to interpret Isaiah 56 or any other passage as granting land to those outside the covenant must confront this decree, this foundational law. If Yahawah swore the land to Abraham's seed, then the scattered Israelites, even if temporarily dispossessed, retain legal inheritance. No heathen witnessing the Israelites' sanctification has a claim. The land was never conditional on their behalf. It was conditioned on Abraham's covenant lineage. The first lesson is clear. Land inheritance is tied to covenant membership, not observation or interest. We will see this thread woven throughout the Torah and the prophets, and it will remain unbroken. This is the book of Genesis chapter 13, verse 14 through 17. And Yahawah said unto Abraham, after that Lot was separated from him, Lift up now thine eyes and look from the place where thou art northward and southward, and eastward and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I give it unto thee. So the Most High reiterates the land promise with totality and perpetuity. All the land Abraham can see for him and his seed forever. So observe the pattern. The Most High does not make this a probationary offer. There is no clause in Genesis allowing outsiders to participate. The scope of the promise is deliberately expansive, yet it is all confined to Abraham's seed, and this makes clear that the covenant itself is exclusive and hereditary. The visual command, lift up thine eyes northward, southward, eastward, and westward. It underscores divine authority and certainty. The land is measured and assigned. It is irrevocable property of the covenant heirs. This is not a conditional offer to any observer, natural heathen, or outsider. Notice also Yahawah's promise regarding Abraham's seed multiplying as the dust of the earth. And this is a foretaste of the Israelites' future diaspora. Even scattered, their inheritance remains legally intact. They do not lose title by dispersion, captivity, or foreign occupation. The land belongs to them by divine decree, not by human consent, not by the words of a bug-out Israelite group. So, any interpretation claiming the sons of the stranger or heathens could inherit land ignores this clear lineage principle. They're not moving on behalf of Yahawah while Yahawah shy. They're doing their own thing. The inheritance is solely for the covenant descendants. And that means any interpretation of Isaiah 56 restoration language cannot rewrite the permanent decree of Yahawah and his promise given to Abraham's seed. The decree is absolute. Only sons receive the land, no outsiders. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 15, verse 7. So, after Abraham questions Yahawah about his inheritance because he has no child yet, the Most High reassures him. And it reads, "And he said unto him, I am Yahawah that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees to give thee this land to inherit it." When you read down to verse 18, let's see what it says. "And in the same day Yahawah made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates." So the land encompasses the Nile to the Euphrates. That's Egypt, which is in Africa, all the way to Mesopotamia, which is Iraq. So the Most High not only declares the promise, he forms a covenant binding the land to Abraham's seed legally and irrevocably. Notice the language. He says, "I am Yahawah that brought thee out to give thee this land to inherit it." The Most High asserts ownership and authority over the land and directly links Abraham's seed to it. There is no mention of any natural Gentile, foreigner, or observer having a claim. Even those who actually live there, the Canaanite, in the eyes and in the Most High's words, not even they have a claim. The Most High owns the land and he decides who he gives it to by oath. Verse 18 elevates this from promise to covenant, a formal, legally enforceable agreement. Yahawah defines the exact boundaries. He says, from the river of Egypt to Euphrates. This is not approximate. It is divinely mandated geography, irrevocable, absolute. The covenant mechanism in Hebrew law involves an oath, a witness, and sometimes blood as confirmation. Abraham's participation shows the acknowledgement and legal ratification that this is a binding transaction. Any modern interpretation suggesting that natural heathens inherit land through witnessing the Israelites' sanctification is legally and scripturally impossible. Yahawah's oath establishes ownership and inheritance rights by seed, not by looking and desiring that you want to be a part of it. So when Isaiah speaks of sons restored or taking hold of my covenant, he is never describing a new class of natural Gentiles inheriting land. The inheritance is entirely within Abraham's line, or you didn't seek Yahawah at his counsel. Isaiah 56 restores covenant children, not outsiders. Any deviation violates the immutability of the Most High's land covenant. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 17, verse 7 and 8, and it reads, "And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee in their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God." So again, how many times must the Most High reiterate that the land of Canaan, all of it, is an everlasting possession, and it's to the seed of Abraham and thy seed after thee in their generations, plural, for an everlasting covenant. Everlasting means it never ends. That means what Yahawah declared from the beginning must be the same in the end. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 17, verse 19 through 21, and it reads, "And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. As for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation." So in verse 19 through 21, the covenant is explicitly seed-based. Land inheritance is exclusive to Isaac's line, not to Abraham's other children, no matter their obedience or circumcision. So here we see two critical things. The everlasting covenant, which is the land of promise, being irrevocable for Abraham's seed. And Yahawah explicitly ties it to lineage, not merit or obedience alone. So I want you to notice something. In these last precepts, it shows that even Ishmael, Abraham's firstborn, Abraham's firstborn son, who is circumcised and obeyed the laws given to Abraham, even he, as a stranger according to the covenant, even he could not inherit the land, because if he could, the Most High would have never sent him and his mother away, Hagar. Could there be any better example of a righteous heathen than Ishmael, circumcised, kept the laws of God because he lived in Abraham's house, and yet and still the law itself confirms that legal status in the covenant is through lineage given unto Isaac. Seed, not strangers or observers. And this directly undermines any notion that a heathen could inherit land merely by witnessing the Israelites' sanctification or attempting to join the covenant externally. The covenant is biologically and legally bound, not universally open. And this also answers a fundamental question. If natural heathens could inherit the land and join, why not just allow the Cadmonites, the Ishmaelites, or the Canaanites to just learn and stay and stick around and learn the law? Why even move them out of the land? It's because the Most High's decree is not about willingness or faithfulness of outsiders. It's about protecting the integrity of the covenant and the inheritance promises to Isaac's line. And any reinterpretation to include natural heathens in the land violates the immutable word of Yahawah, and you're speaking presumptuously against his name. When Prophet Isaiah speaks of sons restored or covenant promises, it cannot refer to outsiders, just as Abraham's line alone holds the inheritance in Genesis. Restoration in Isaiah 56 is strictly for covenant-bound Israelites, estranged or scattered, and not for natural heathens. Still not convinced? Okay, let's continue. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 28, verse 3 and 4, and it reads, May Elohim Almighty bless thee, and make thee fruitful, and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a multitude of people, and give thee the blessing of Abraham to thee, and to thy seed with thee, that thou mayest inherit the land wherein thou art a stranger, which Elohim gave unto Abraham. So Isaac is blessing Jacob, saying that Jacob shall be a multitude of people, and that the covenant of the land is given to his seed, wherein he is a stranger. So sons of the stranger is really starting to take shape here. Let's move on. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 28, verse 13 through 15, and it reads, And behold, Yahawah stood above it and said, I am Yahawah, Elohim of Abraham thy father, and the Elohim of Isaac, and the land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed, and thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth. And thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and I will bring thee again into the land, for I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken of thee. So, Genesis 28 establishes the foundation of Yahawah's covenant promises. Yahawah speaks directly to Jacob, the legitimate heir of Abraham and Isaac, and ties both the blessing and the inheritance explicitly to lineage. The land is promised to Jacob and his seed alone. No casual observer, outsider, or admirer can claim it. The blessing is genealogical and irrevocable, and the scattering is foretold here. It's not a loss of identity, but a temporary displacement, prefiguring the exiles under Moses, the judges, the kings, and the later divided kingdoms. It was all prophesied by the mouth of Yahawah. But the Father assures Jacob, I will bring thee again into this land, for I will not leave thee, confirming that the covenant remains in effect despite dispersion. Because the book of Genesis sets inheritance as lineage-based, any later interpretation claiming that the land can belong to outsiders or the nations contradicts the immovable decree of covenant law given by the Most High. And this principle it underlies Isaiah 56, Psalm 69:36, Deuteronomy 23, and Zechariah 12. The inheritance belongs only to Jacob's line, and Yahawah himself upholds and enforces it. It says, thy seed shall be a multitude of nations. This is not a grant to the natural heathen. The Most High's phrasing is about the expansion and the scattering of Jacob's seed, Ephraim and Judah, into many lands, yet always with the return to the promised inheritance. The many nations are the Israelites dispersed, not a new covenant membership for the natural heathen. The Most High explicitly references the Abrahamic covenant. The inheritance promise is not reissued to outsiders or based on a new criteria. It is a continuation and a fulfillment through Jacob, and it's immutable. The Most High said it's an everlasting possession and an everlasting covenant, meaning it continues forever. He says, I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken of thee. And this cements that the land and the blessings are exclusive. And it's tied to the seed of Abraham through Isaac and Jacob, and no external nations, however willing, are permitted legal inheritance of the land. So in Isaiah 56, when it says sons restored, that sons restored language, it cannot be interpreted to include natural heathens. Just as Jacob's seed alone is promised the land and blessings, Isaiah's covenant restoration is strictly for scattered Israelites. and not for outsiders who merely desire access. And any attempt to universalize land inheritance contradicts the explicit language in Torah. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 35, verse 10 through 12, and it reads, "And the Lord said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be any more called Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And Yahawah Elohim said unto him, I am Lord Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave unto Abraham and Isaac, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land." Only false teachers and bug out Israelites are literally in a box they can't escape out of. This passage removes all remaining ambiguity. The Most High does not merely reaffirm the promise, he names the covenant bearer and reissues the land grant verbatim. The name change from Jacob to Israel, not symbolically but covenantally. The inheritance is now bound to the Israelites as a named people, not a religion, not an abstract faith group, not a group of heathens desiring to be them, learning the language and convincing the world that they're them. It says a nation and a company of nations, and this mirrors Genesis 28 and anticipates dispersion, and it describes multiplication and expansion, not the inclusion of foreigners. And that phrase never detaches from of thee. Of thee. The origin matters. The land is tied to the descendants of Jacob, not foreigners who try to join the covenant, not converts who now want to be Israelites. Is tied to Jacob's seed, and any attempt to try to take over this land will cause sheer judgment on the natural heathen. The land language is identical to Abraham's promise, the land which I gave unto Abraham and Isaac. Yet there is no alteration, there is no expansion, there is no added beneficiaries. Yahawah deliberately repeats himself because repetition in covenant law is reinforcement. It's not redundancy. That's why he repeats himself a lot, to make sure it's understood as set in stone, a matter already settled at the throne of heaven. So, if company of nations meant the natural heathens joining the inheritance, this is where Yahawah would have said so. But instead, he says nations shall come out of Jacob. He said kings shall come out of his loins, and the land goes to his seed. So, you cannot extract heathens from the language that never releases genealogy. So the land is reattached after the name Israel or Yasha'Allah is given. And this is critical because the Most High does not say, now that you are Israel, others may join you. He says, now that you are Israel, to thee and to thy seed will I give the land. Meaning the Israelites are the legal vessel. The seed is the qualifier, and the land is the inheritance, and the outsiders remain outside. And this kills the Isaiah 56 universalist claim at the root. If Isaiah 56 were granting land inheritance to natural heathens, Genesis 35 would be contradicted. Abraham's oath would be diluted. Jacob's renaming would be pointless. And most important, Abanawa Yahawah would be violating his own legal pattern. And the Most High does not contradict himself. So Isaiah 56 cannot add new heirs. It cannot create new land recipients. It cannot override genealogical inheritance. It cannot renegotiate Abraham's everlasting covenant oath. Therefore, the sons of the strangers must already be a part of the lineage. Joining to Yahawah equals covenant restoration, not expansion. Access to worship does not equal a title to the land. Genesis 35 proves that even after dispersion is foretold, the inheritance remains sealed to Jacob's seed alone. And if Genesis 35 does not expand land inheritance beyond Jacob's seed, then no prophet has the authority to do so later. Not Isaiah, not Ezekiel, not Zechariah. They can only enforce, restore, and execute what was already sworn. This is the book of Exodus chapter 6, verse 4 through 8, and it reads, "And I have established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage wherein they were strangers. And I have also heard the groaning of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage. And I have remembered my covenant. Wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am Yahawah, and will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. And I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with the stretched out arm and with great judgments, and will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you an Elohim. And ye shall know that I am Yahawah your God, which bringeth you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and will bring you unto the land concerning the which I did swear to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, and will give it for you in a heritage. I am Yahawah." So, land inheritance, covenant membership, and deliverance are inseparable from Yahawah's plan. One cannot exist without the others. The Israelites must be his people to even receive the land, and the land is given as part of the covenant fulfillment. Yahawah explicitly recalls his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The land is not up for negotiation. It is a covenantal property, and any claim that outsiders can inherit the land simply because they witness the Israelites' sanctification is absurd and legally impossible. Deliverance precedes possession. The Israelites must be brought out of bondage before they receive the land, and this ties obedience, covenant membership, and inheritance together. A natural heathen has no role here. They are neither enslaved under Yahawah's judgment nor part of the covenantal promise. When Yahawah says, I will take you to me for a people, notice, being his people is a precondition for land possession. This principle demolishes any notion that a natural heathen observer automatically gains access to inheritance. The Most High's oath is repeated. I did swear to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob. These promises are set in stone. The land cannot be transferred outside this family line, even temporarily, without violating Yahawah's unchangeable decree. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 34, verse 13 through 15, and it reads, And Yahawah spake unto Moses, saying, This is the land which ye shall inherit, after the division thereof by lot, for an inheritance which Yahawah commanded to give unto the 9 tribes and the half tribe. So when we go to Numbers 34, it further cements the covenantal inheritance principle established in Genesis 28. After detailing the borders of the promised land, the Father commands that the land be divided by lot among the tribes of Yashar'Allah, each according to its lineage. The Levites are explicitly excluded from receiving an inheritance of land, receiving cities instead, underscoring that inheritance is not universal, but strictly organized by covenant law and bloodline. And this even continues in Ezekiel. So the text instructs that the division is to be executed by appointed leaders from each tribe, ensuring that the allocation adheres to the Most High's plan and not human preference. And this reinforces that the inheritance is legal. It's not arbitrary, and it must remain within the Israelites' tribes. And any claim by outsiders or nations to share in this inheritance is inconsistent with Torah. So land inheritance is legally allocated to the tribes, according to the covenant promises, and these boundaries are divinely commanded. They are not open for negotiation. Tribes specifically, the Most High meticulously divines which tribes receive which portions of the land, and this is not a flexible suggestion. It is actually an assigned inheritance system. And like I said before, no inheritance can just decide, oh, I want to be a part of this and get a piece. It just doesn't work like that. You have to be Jacob. So, the system ensures that the covenant promises are irrevocably fulfilled. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, verse 8. And it reads, See, I have set the land before you. Go in and possess the land which Yahawah sware unto your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give unto them and to their seed after them. So first, let's look at the language here. It says, I have set. That's past tense. This decision was already made in heaven before the Israelites ever stepped forward. This is not a proposal awaiting obedience. It is not an open invitation. It is an executive order awaiting execution. The land is tied to an oath. The Most High said he swore it to your fathers. He does not swear by circumstance, morality, or the Israelites' consistency. He swears by no higher authority. He swears by himself. An oath sworn by Yahawah cannot be reversed without him denying his own name, and you know he not doing that. Third, the recipients are explicitly named: Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and their seed. No substitutions, no expansions, no spiritual redefinitions. The command to go in and possess presumes identity is already settled. Possession is the action phase of a covenant already ratified. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 19, verse 14, and it reads, "Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that Yahawah thy power giveth thee to possess it." Landmarks were not arbitrary stones. They were the legal witnesses, fixed boundaries established by the original allotment Yahawah himself authorized. To move a landmark was not theft by accident. It was intentional fraud, an attempt to rewrite inheritance without authority. So notice the timing here. It says, which they of old time have set. So the boundary predates the current generation. Later occupants have no jurisdiction to alter what earlier decree already established. So how can you inherit a land being a natural heathen without removing a landmark which the Most High already promised by oath? And the law says you cannot remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in their inheritance. How does a heathen get to have access to a land without altering the landmark? See, these doctrines, they don't adhere to Torah law. They have gotten accustomed to giving themselves all these titles and fancying themselves as scholarly, fancying themselves as apostles, fancying themselves as priests, yet they did not seek Yahawah at his counsel. Simply because you have understanding in a few different passages or a few different parables, it doesn't mean you have a total understanding of the book. And more importantly, if your breakdowns do not include the immutable words of Yahawah, 90% of the time you're going off. So again, possession does not equal authorship. Now apply this principle covenantally. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob received the original boundary markers by oath. Moses here reiterates them. Joshua later enforces them, and the prophets guard them. They do not re-author the covenant. They do not make amendments. That would mean it would be against the law and the testimony. You got to go Bible 101 with these nut jobs and these bug out Israelites, because they just can't get it. They have rebuked all the elders who got it right. Even if we have an ability to break it down even further, the elders got it right. So any doctrine that shifts the Israelites' inheritance land, identity, or covenant privilege is doing exactly what this verse forbids: removing ancient landmarks. And this is why hijacking Isaiah 56 is so severe. It attempts to relocate boundaries Yahawah already set in literal stone, redefining who the heirs are, reassigning access without jurisdiction, or claiming continuity while altering ownership. It treats scripture violently. Moving on. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 8 and 9, and it reads, "When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For Yahawah's portion is his people. Yahawah, Jacob, is the lot of his inheritance." So the land is God-given, tribal, and irrevocable. Boundaries are legally binding. Infringement is explicitly forbidden. Deuteronomy 1 and 8 reiterates the same covenant promises seen in Genesis and Exodus. The Most High personally swears the land to Abraham's seed. This is not provisional. It is perpetual and exclusive, and is marked by landmarks, literal stone. The command is to go in and possess it. It is a call to the Israelites alone, not permissive invitation to heathens. So when you get to Deuteronomy 19, it codifies the sanctity of the tribal inheritance boundaries. To move a landmark is legally unjust and a breach of the Most High's eternal decree. Any claim by heathens on Israelite land is directly prohibited by Torah, no matter their observance or witness. Now you're starting to see how your doctrine is Swiss cheese. No heathens are getting a land inheritance, thus saith Yahawah. You have to take that up with the Father the highest. It don't matter what I say. I got to take it back to the basics. We got to go back to ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, and pop-up pictures for y'all to see that to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this, it's because there is no light in them, even though they think they have light. Yahawah is the light. The law is the light, and the commandment a lamp. You're supposed to always go back to the divine words of the Father. And that's how you derive at your understanding. Any attempt to sway away from the voice, well, you decide what that means for you, since you seem to have all the answers. Why not you give yourself your own judgment in that day where you have to stand before the throne? I dare you. So by the time you get to Deuteronomy 32, it further cements that the Israelites are God's allotted portion. The Most High divided the nations. He deliberately assigned Jacob as his inheritance. And this excludes the heathen from land entitlement, leaving them outside the covenant. The Torah consistently establishes land inheritance as exclusive. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 2 through 6, and it reads, "Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise and go over this Jordan, thou and all of this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Yasha'Allah. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses, from the wilderness in this Lebanon, even unto the great river Euphrates, and all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your coast. There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so will I be with thee, and I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Be strong and of good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land, which I swear unto their fathers to give them. So Joshua chapter 1 is the execution phase of an irreversible decree, the land language. The land language is absolute. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you. Past tense again. The Israelites are not conquering to earn a land. They're stepping into what is already granted. Military action is not acquisition. It is enforcement of a prior judgment. When you get to verse 4, it defines the borders. This is not a symbolic acquisition. This is literal geography. The Most High names deserts, rivers, seas, and nations. A spiritualized covenant would not require cartography. The specificity itself testifies that the promise cannot morph into something else later. Joshua is not inventing a future hope. He is administering an oath already sworn, a matter already decided at the throne of heaven. His task is distribution, not authorization. And this passage itself annihilates every theological claim that the promise was conditional upon flawless obedience, and that leadership failure could void inheritance, or that later prophecy could redefine the covenant heirs. If the covenant survived the wilderness, the Jordan, the death of Moses, it cannot be undone by later reinterpretation. Yahawah does not reset his word. He executes it. This is the book of Joshua chapter 21, verses 43 through 45, and it reads, And Yahawah gave unto Israel all the land which he swore to give unto their fathers, and they possessed it and dwelt therein. And Yahawah gave them rest round about, according to all that he sware unto their fathers. And there stood not a man of all their enemies before them. Yahawah delivered all their enemies into their hand. And Yahawah gave them the land, and they possessed it. And Yahawah gave them rest from all their enemies round about. So Joshua 21 emphasizes the completion and permanence, the language, all the land, possessed it, stood not a man of their enemies. It all signals irrevocable fulfillment. Yahawah's promise is no longer a future speculation, it's reality. For any Isaiah 56 argument that suggests natural heathens could now inherit land is simply false. Joshua stands as a historical rebuttal. The Most High's promise is exclusively to the Israelites, and it's already executed. The covenant promises of land in Genesis confirmed in Deuteronomy or fully realized in Joshua. And any attempt to expand land inheritance to heathens contradicts every precedent, every divine oath, and every fulfillment of Yahawah's words. This is the book of Psalm, chapter 105, verse 8 through 11, and it reads, He had remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations, which covenant he made with Abraham, and his oath unto Isaac, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel, Yahawah, for an everlasting covenant, saying, Unto thee will I give the land of Canaan, the lot of your inheritance. So Psalms 105 is covenant permanence, stated without loopholes. Yahawah had remembered his covenant forever, not until exile, not until disobedience, not until reinterpretation. Memory here is not recollection, but active fidelity. What Yahawah remembers, he enforces. Time, sin, and captivity do not erode what he swears to remember. This psalm then establishes the covenant's legal chain of custody, made with Abraham, sworn to Isaac, and confirmed to Jacob, and legislated to Yahawah. By the time it reaches Israel, it is no longer a promise in motion, it is covenant law, and that law is explicitly called an everlasting covenant, removing any claim of expiration, replacement, or transfer. The content of the covenant is stated plain. Until thee will I give the land of Canaan, the lot of your inheritance. This is not abstract or a symbolic blessing. The lot is judicial language, fixed, it's measured, and it's assigned by the Most High himself. So Psalms 105 functions as a prophetic witness against future tampering. Any doctrine that universalizes or reallocates this covenant is not advancing scripture. It is contradicting Yahawah's sworn memory. Isaiah 56 cannot override this. It must operate within it, because prophecy cannot nullify what Yahawah calls everlasting. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 21. Your people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. There is nowhere in the scriptures you can show natural heathens being the work of the Most High's hands. Notice the possessive language, thy people. The verse does not redefine who the people are. It assumes identity already established by Torah. Isaiah is speaking to Zion, not humanity. All righteous is not a claim of historical perfection. It is a future act of divine intervention. Righteousness here is not self-generated, it is bestowed. That alone destroys the argument that the Israelites' past sin could annul the promise. If righteousness were a prerequisite, this prophecy could never exist. Then comes the immovable core. They shall inherit the land forever. This directly echoes Psalm 105:11 and the Abrahamic oath forever. This is inheritance language. No expiration clause, no reassignments, no heathens being a part of it after witnessing the Israelite sanctification. Yahawah then seals the reason why it cannot fail. He says, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands. If the Israelites are Yahawah's own planting, then uprooting or replacing the Israelites would be a self-contradiction. If the Israelites are the work of his hands, then failure would imply a defect in the craftsman, something scripture would never allow. The final clause is what removes all debates, though. He said that I may be glorified. That's for his namesake. This is all Torah language based on the promises that he made within the law. The Israelites' restoration is not dependent on the Israelites' worthiness, but on Yahawah's reputation for his namesake. And he never adds outsiders for his namesake. He does it because he made promises. And even though the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob broke promises, Yahawah doesn't. So to deny this prophecy is to argue with the Father and to say that Yahawah forfeits his own glory. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 2 and 3, and it reads, Thus speaketh Yahawah, God of Israel, saying, Write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book. For lo, the days come, saith Yahawah, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith Yahawah, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave their fathers, and they shall possess it. So Jeremiah 30, again, the Most High's irrevocable restoration decree is for Jacob. It's clear and unbreakable. He commands Jeremiah to write his words in a book, ensuring that his decree is permanently recorded and cannot be forgotten or twisted or to cancel the covenant. The prophecy begins with, Lo, the days come, signaling that the events are certain and will unfold according to his divine schedule, not human interpretation or delay. The restoration is tied directly to the land promised to the patriarchs, reaffirming the inheritance established with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Israelites' return to the land is an execution of a covenant already sworn, not a new symbolic promise. Yahawah includes both Israel and Judah in this restoration, maintaining the continuity of the covenant line. The outcome is possession and fulfillment of the oath, making any attempt to spiritualize or hijack these promises impossible. The exile cannot nullify what Yahawah swore. And restoration is not optional or conditional. It is a guaranteed act of his faithfulness, anchored in his memory, his oath, his glory, and for his namesake. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36, verse 24 through 28. And it reads, For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries, and will bring you into your own land. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean from all your filthiness, and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and will give you an heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes. And ye shall keep my judgments and do them. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. So Ezekiel 36 links the land inheritance to obedience and covenant identity. Yahawah separates the Israelites from the heathen, promising restoration only to those with covenant lineage, not outsiders. Every prophetic voice confirms the permanence and exclusivity of the land promise. So Isaiah 56 cannot redefine this covenant to include people from the outside. Even the sons of the strangers must be read through the lens of a strange Israelite offspring, not natural Gentiles. Again, you are arguing with your maker by declaring Isaiah 56 gives a land inheritance to the heathen. I cannot stress this enough, and I took you to the beginning, all the way through the law, through the wilderness, through Joshua, to the prophets. You're going to have a tough time trying to tell me that I'm wrong when I went to the voice of Yahawah. Anybody trying to say heathens will have a land inheritance has credited themselves with the authority to redact what the Most High spoke, and that they have the right to jot in an amendment to Torah. That's dangerous. That's dangerous behavior. Really dangerous. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 47, verse 13 and 14, and it reads, Thus saith Yahawah, these are the boundaries by the which ye shall inherit the land, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Joseph shall have 2 portions, and ye shall inherit it, one as well as another, concerning the which I lifted up my hand to give it unto your fathers, and this shall be the border of the land. So the Most High explicitly references the oath made to the fathers. This is not a temporary arrangement, nor is it open to reinterpretation. He lifted up mine hand is a irrevocable covenant act. The inheritance is strictly distributed according to the 12 tribes. The text specifies that Joseph receives 2 portions, but the overall structure remains exclusive to the Israelite tribes. There is no mention of non-Israelites receiving portions. The land is legally reserved for covenant children. That means any stranger that joins in have already been a part of the covenant from aforetime and were dispersed in exile and not a people, but through the blood they belong. So the verses mirror the promises made in Genesis and reaffirmed in Exodus and Numbers, and it shows the continuity of land inheritance. Ezekiel, writing a post-exilic prophecy, yet Yahawah upholds the original tribal divisions, demonstrating that the covenant cannot be amended to include natural outsiders. So, any notion that the heathen can inherit land is immediately negated. Land inheritance is not contingent on witnessing the Israelites' sanctification, nor on agreement to Torah without covenant identity. Only those tied to the lineage, the children of the fathers, are recipients. So, Ezekiel 47 is immutable, tribal, and exclusive. The promise is grounded in covenant law. I don't know how many times must we go through this throughout the Holy Scriptures. You cannot tell me that Prophet Isaiah's book is talking about Jacob the entire time, but dead smack towards the end, one chapter, he decides, you know what? I think I'm going to include the heathen. That's bug out territory right there. This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 9, verse 6 through 8, and it reads, Thou, even thou, art Yahawah alone. Thou hast made heaven, the heaven of heavens, with all their host, the earth and all things that are therein, the seas and all that is therein, and thou preservest them all. And the host of heaven worship thee. Thou art Yahawah, the God who did choose Abram, and broughtest him forth out of Ur of the Chaldees, and gave him the name Abraham, and foundest his heart faithful before thee, and madest a covenant with him to give the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Jebusites, and the Girgashites, to give it, I say, to his seed, and has performed thy works, for thou art righteous. Even Nehemiah underscores that Yahweh's dealings are with Abraham and his seed, so the covenant is personal, legal, and generational. It's not a universalist prophecy. It's not a universalist oath. It does not open the land to outsiders. The land promise is tied to covenant faithfulness. The promise of Canaan is given explicitly to Abraham's descendants, contingent on Yahawah's oath, not on outside acknowledgement or participation. And the Most High is praised for performing his words, emphasizing the immutability. So, by recounting Abraham's covenant, Nehemiah, again, he is demonstrating that the Israelites' claim to the land is predestined and honored across generations. The land inheritance is a core marker of covenant identity. The land is a part of the package deal. So any claim, again, for the umpteenth time, any claim that the natural heathen could be given land because they simply wish to join or acknowledge Yahawah, it collapses right here. The land is tied to lineage and covenant promise, not voluntary observance or moral alignment. Faithful outsiders do not replace the covenant seed. They may witness, learn, or serve, but the inheritance remains Jacob's. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 8, verse 7 and 8, and it reads, Thus saith Yahawah of hosts, Yahawah Tazabawath, Behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country, and I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God in truth and righteousness. Zechariah 8, again, is Yahawah reaffirming his covenant restoration with precision and unshakable authority. He declares that he will save his people from the lands where they were scattered and bring them back to the cities of Judah, establishing them firmly in their inheritance. This is not a promise to the nations. It's not a generalized blessing, but a targeted return for Yasha'Allah, and tied directly to the land he originally gave their fathers. Yahawah emphasizes that when he restores them, he will dwell in their midst, highlighting that their return is inseparable from his presence and covenant faithfulness. The covenant is therefore active, enforceable, and permanent. The Israelites scattered in captivity, it cannot cancel it. No external interpretation can override the reality of the inheritance, the land, and his ongoing guidance. The Most High is executing his prior oath. The restoration is visible, tangible, and it was sworn long ago, proving that divine decrees cannot be turned back or hijacked without contradicting his word. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 10, verse 6 through 10, and it reads, And I will strengthen the house of Judah, and I will save the house of Joseph, and I will bring them again to place them, for I have mercy upon them, and they shall be as though I had not cast them off, for I am Yahawah their God, and will hear them. And they of Ephraim shall be like a mighty man, and their heart shall rejoice as through wine, their children shall see it and be glad, and their heart shall rejoice in Yahawah. And I will hiss for them and gather them, for I have redeemed them. And they shall increase as they have increased. And I will sow them among the people, and they shall remember me in far countries, and they shall live with their children and turn again. And I will bring them again also out of the land of Egypt, and gather them out of Assyria, and I will bring them into the land of Gilead and Lebanon, and place shall not be found for them. So again, Yahawah declaring the unstoppable restoration and empowerment of the Israelites. He promises that he will strengthen the house of Judah and save the house of Joseph, uniting them under his sovereign plan. This is not a spiritual metaphor for the nations. It's Israelites specific. Yahawah says he will make them like a mighty people, restoring them from all the lands of their dispersion, and bring them back to possess their land. He speaks of leading them with care and power, like a shepherd carrying the lambs, showing that their return is both purposeful and sovereignly guided. Their enemies will no longer dominate them, for Yahawah himself goes before them, executing his promises. And it's so revealing because it shows that the Israelites' restoration, unity, and inheritance are decreed and impossible to reverse. You can't spiritualize or universalize this prophecy away. You cannot take it away from Yahawah because it's directly opposed to what Yahawah has promised, and his promises are rooted in his oath and his namesake. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 20, verse 40 through 42, and it reads, "For in my holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel, saith Yahawah, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land, serve me. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings and the first fruits of your oblations, with all your holy things. And I will accept you with your sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries wherein ye have been scattered, and I will be sanctified in you before the heathen. And ye shall know I am Yahawah when I shall bring you into the land of Israel, into the country for the which I lifted up my hand to give it to your fathers." So Ezekiel 20, the Most High is making clear that the inheritance of the land is reserved, and the covenant promises are neither transferable or universalized. And he declares that he will gather the Israelites from the nations where they're scattered, cleanse them, and bring them into the land to dwell there. And that the heathen are never promised to be in the land as their inheritance. Their purpose is only to witness Yahawah's glory as the Israelites are restored. They are the observers, not the inheritors. This directly guards against any misinterpretation of Isaiah 56 that suggests the sons of the strangers are granted full covenant inheritance. Ezekiel 20 frames the inheritance as exclusive. The Most High gathers, sanctifies, and restores his people to their rightful land. Any idea that foreigners or heathens inherit alongside the Israelites contradicts the constant and repetitive pattern. The land was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and their seed forever. Ezekiel confirms that the exile does not cancel that inheritance, and that the covenant is unchangeable. Thus saith Yahawah. And this shows clearly that passages about joining or serving Yahawah in Isaiah 56 describe an attachment and blessing within the Israelites' covenant structure, i.e., the placed covenant heirs. The proper understanding is that the Israelites receive the land and the nations witness it. But the inheritance, it's just not theirs. So, even when you read Ezekiel 48, verses 1 through 6, or 1 through 7, and then from 23 through 29, you can see it is a culmination showing that the inheritance is exclusive, structured, and legally fixed for the Israelites alone. That whole chapter details the allotment of tribal lands, naming each tribe, specifying boundaries, portions, and cities. This whole idea of land inheritance is not spiritualized. It's not universalized. It is administrative, really. It's legal, it's prophetic, and it reflects the covenant oath, the oath sworn to the forefathers, a pattern repeated over and over throughout the law and the prophets. I don't know how anybody can read one chapter out of this entire book and then conclude, all of a sudden, believing heathens are going to get a part of this inheritance. So any claim that Isaiah 56 grants the land to natural heathens ignores the constant covenant structure. The sons of the strangers are not new heirs in this context. They are displaced or dispersed Israelites being reintegrated, already counted within the covenant inheritance. So Yahawah's decrees, again, they cannot be altered or amended or redacted, as they are immutable. His oaths are not subject to human desire, admiration, or interpretation. From Abraham to Jacob, from Exodus through Joshua, the land covenant is exclusive, perpetual, and legally bound to the seed of the covenant line. No outsider, no natural heathen, no witnessing nation can claim inheritance. Every prophetic voice from Psalms to Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel confirms this reality. Isaiah 56 does not create a loophole. The sons of the stranger are not natural heathens. They are scattered Israelites, restored and returned to their covenant rights. Yahawah's promise stands. The land belongs to his people by lineage, by oath, and forever. We do not debate it. We do not reinterpret it. We do not shift landmarks or transfer inheritance rights. Yahawah's word is law, and his word is final. His glory, his covenant, and his justice are inseparable from the land he swore to the forefathers, and that inheritance remains unbreakable, immutable, and everlasting. And in closing, it's all honor, all glory, and all praises to Yahawah, the eternal power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the righteous judge and the Holy One of Yasharahla. And blessings be upon the elect through Hamashiach Yahawah, the anointed King, the Lion of Judah, the deliverer of Zion, the mighty intercessor raised up by the Most High himself. Yahawah alone is the receiver of all praise, and Yahawah is the door, the mediator, the high priest, the vessel by whom we are reconciled and have access. May the Most High give you eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart to obey. May your steps be ordered by his word, your faith proven by your works, and your soul preserved in the day of visitation. Barakathum Bahashem Yahawah Bahashem Hamashiach Yahawah. Barakathum Banyam Yasharahla Kwam Yasharahla Kwam Malak Kwam Tazadak Kahalayam La Yahawah Thum Yad. It's your brother Ak Lamak, and I hope you were edified, and Shalom.